around, which is bad for Superman. He appears as Superman, and now this is a lot deeper than people actually think. Actually, this is one of his most impressive feats, I guess. Now, this universe is in the sixth dimension as a dialogue. Now, this universe is in the sixth dimension, but the dialogue kinds of make it look like it's in the third dimension. Now, we do know that Superman went to the sixth dimension, which is the greater omniverse, which definitely houses habitants, which is Perpetua's race, and would have their own planet. Now, and we even see that the Warforger was able to create literally a whole planet Earth in the sixth dimension. Literally create the Justice League, everything, but we're getting there. Now, this was possible because he was getting 5D amps. People will understand the reason why 5D imps can enter. They can't even enter this. They can enter the sixth dimension, but it will require all their strength, I guess. But I mean, Mixie had enough strength to wipe out the planet, the narrative, but whatever. Kind of inconsistent. The thing about that is that I will explain it quickly. Now, we are aware that Mixie, Superman, all agree that they are dealing with something unfathomable, but people simply can't understand that the fifth dimension is imagination and the source is a physical manifestation of imagination, which Mixie makes clear because when the source wall broke, imagination went haywire, simply for the fact that the source is imagination itself, and we do know living creatures stay there, like the imps, the anti-life entity, and the raptor hawk, the judges of Perpetua's kind from the source. Everything revolves around the fifth dimension, as stated by Captain Carrot. The fifth dimension, it basically is created from Hecate, which Hecate existed before anything, as she was the light that existed in the darkness, of course, should be Maha Pralaya. And then her essence was just pure light of magic, and we know she's pure magic, around the still forming multiverse, and later the sphere of the gods' birth, which we know is Virahar. That includes heaven, hell, and many more. And then in the dark, her unconscious thoughts created the Upside Down Man, who is a greater threat than the great darkness, the great evil beast, and transcend them, as you can see in the scans. Of course, the dark multiverse was formed by Hecate, as we know she created the other kind and the other place. Check my Upside Down Man video versus the Chaos King video. And it exists beyond the sphere of the dark multiverse. It's just a sphere above them, above it. Meaning that in the dark, which is Pralaya, and you will know why in my Pralaya video. The dark multiverse was also created from Hecate, as it was stated that she first noticed her opposite in the dark multiverse, which had just come from her fear, and we know the multiverse is created by Perpetua, who is indeed far below Hecate and also the presence, as even the great darkness at full length is above the present, which I will show in my Swamp Thing video coming soon. Before I forget, yes, we know fear created everything in the dark multiverse, which fear comes from our conscious, be it conscious or unconscious, which are nightmares, and we know that nightmares are part of dream, and dreaming helps with the collective unconscious to create. And we also know that the Upside Down Man is an archetype of nightmare, and he predates all of the nightmares and transcends them, as we know his beliefs made him like that, and everything in creation, as he believes his might is boundless to others, as this is via Hecate. Be it his beliefs creating the other kind or the other place is still Hecate, because Hecate created him. Hecate is the collective unconscious. But I did go deeper into all this in my previous videos, which you should check. If you want to understand this cosmology DC breakdown I'm doing, you gotta go to the DC playlist and then start from the cosmology videos and see how everything stacks up. Now, I finally have figured the overvoid still outclasses the dark multiverse and the other place, which is obvious for the most part. So I am not lost on that anymore. The War Forger basically takes Superman's form as a pseudo concept of the story of Superman for hope to prevail. And if you watch my Ultra Monitor versus Exeter video, I did make mention of the concepts each of the Justice League members embody. With the justice of Batman to figure things out as a detective is what helped to reach out to Superman with hope, as both of them are best friends and compatible, which isn't new for the most part. They both have the strongest aims created from their imaginations, and they were assigned to them, which are Mr. Mixie and Batmite. This dude was flying so fast that the surrounding space started vibrating as he breached through to the sixth dimension, or he breached through from a part of the sixth dimension to the other universe, and they thought it was a rogue star. This battle was fought in the sixth dimension, which was an exact replica of the multiverse, and the forger did say he created the multiverse in the sixth dimension. Now, this multiverse you see in the sixth dimension, of course, created by the World Forger, this is something Perpetua couldn't pull off initially when she was shown, and Forger totally is beyond the Perpetua that created the light multiverse with borrowed power. It is more impressive when you know he created a perfect Justice League. He made a room where Flash and Green Lantern can keep creating infinite universes. But yet, this six-dimensional Sun Deep Superman one-shot the Forger, but did he? We see that the Forger wasn't using his true full form, but an avatar or a shrinked form of him. And as we move, you will see all his size. Also, his size changed compared to his size in the sixth dimension to them. And later, when he wanted to hammer the anvil, he reduced because of what he was gonna destroy. When he breached Martian Manhunter's psyche, which is a source level feat, and he did it casually, that's when he showed his true form, as he exists beyond imagination, which is the fifth dimension, and John can manipulate the totality, which is a peak 5D feat, but Forger could use a physical form to exist there. And also, yes, this is the scan for the Forger saying his kind can't exist on Batman's plane or the human plane or the gods and all that stuff. Even cells. And earlier in the comic, and the fourth dimension is the gods and all that. Even when they went to the Monitor Sphere, which has been in shambles since Superman Beyond, he still isn't close to full size or power. I know people will say that the Forger claims the Dark Multiverse just rose, but that's not wrong, as it started affecting the light with dark matter, which is one of the Forger's tasks to do in protecting the light multiverse, as the Forger normally lived in the dark multiverse within the Forge at a place called Peculiar, which is consistent, as the Monitor says. He got tortured by something that shouldn't have been forged, and that's Barbatos, which was introduced to the Monitor by Forger. And Barbatos was even so small at that time, and as the multiverse grew, which the dark multiverse grew and is actually far larger than the light multiverse, Barbatos kept advancing, and the Batman Who Laughs was a threat to the multiverse, and this is all covered up in death metal runs. And let me tell you, Barbatos is the strongest person in the dark multiverse except the Forger, because the dark multiverse is that of the light. Barbatos is a threat to Monitor and Anti-Monitor, and Anti-Monitor and Monitor are threats to all of creation below the source, even possibly including the source, and even possibly beyond. So Barbatos does stomp a shit ton of people, man. And just by destroying the matter universe, and that's basically everything that and if you make the Monitor weak, and then you make the anti-Monitor strong, and vice versa. But Barbatos is beyond both. The World Forger basically makes Monitor stronger, and any universes within these 52 multiverses that die makes the anti-Monitor stronger, but Barbatos' purpose came to take those. The Forger of Worlds pre-Crisis was stronger than them both. Same for Crisis, And same for post-crisis. Go watch my Ultra Monitor versus Exeter video, you understand. Despite the fact that he wasn't shown, but feats correlating context proves otherwise. Right now, he's far stronger than Perpetua to the point that it is indeed stated that Perpetua got crazy amp because of Luthor, and yet a weakened forger who hadn't even been in his or wasn't at full power was gonna destroy an amped planet from Perpetua and died but will be reborn in the sixth dimension. Few other feats are the fact that while his power diminished like before, where he was going to tear down the multiverse in the sixth dimension and Superman got crazy amp. This time it is worse because while on the third dimension, a strike from his hammer can create a universe. And also he was able to create hypertime, which is ultraversal, and also created a mini ship that could take them from the bleed to the antimatter universe at quart, basically at the edge of creation around at the source wall and the source, which is weakened now. And when I to the antimatter and the antimatter universe is weakened now, and it used to border the overvoid from creation, while the source wall now borders the source from creation. Massive downplay, but not really. They're still under the same tier. And now the World Forger scales easily to baseline high alta versal, but far stronger into it. I'll say relative to Amped Perpetua. Now, Forger of Worlds would be simple as hell. The shape of world scaling is easy but not easy. He doesn't really have feats, but he has lore which is greater than most feats in the verse. Now we have abstract entities which are beyond hierarchies of axioms or alif transcendencies of infinite planes of existence. There are infinite planes, but infinite planes can just be ultraversal and could also be peak high ultraversal. We know there are transcendencies in planes that are based on alifs or axioms, meaning that at very least it gets to peak high ultraversal, and we know there are realms or dimensions shown. Now there are 6 tiers which are infinitely into ultraversal, inaccessible, and immeasurable, and beyond immeasurable for outer tier you then get to baseline high ultraversal, which is beyond infinite ultraversal hierarchies, which Marvel has. But simply knowing there are alif transcendencies and clearly stated and shown to be beyond that, but that's something for my cosmology video. The final one coming soon. Same process of high alter, since we know there are infinite planes of reality transcending each other conceptually, making each an infinitesimal to the previous. And eternity embodies these planes but not to the peak. Within eternity stops at inaccessible into high ultraversal, and his total being from an outside perspective is where you have the outside plane, which has these realms called the land of couldn't be, shouldn't be, the beyond, the far shore, and the unknown, which is still the far shore but an undefined far shore. Now we know that in Secret Wars and the debut of the Never Queen, we see these blank realms where Silver Surfer and his girl was kept while the multiverse was being destroyed. To see how much these transcendencies work, it looks like a portal was open for them to enter that place, which is true, but they actually came out of eternity and was amped to a considerable size, not an infinitesimal to eternity size. As you can see, the size difference, that's why them being small to him, but not an infinitesimal or close to it. And the white background you see is actually the Forger of Worlds. And he's so big that eternity isn't remotely the size of his eyes, talk less of his whole body. But don't get it twisted, they're on the same tier of existence. The difference is that eternity is like a powerless human here. And he stated it before that the outside is beyond his reach. Like he does not have power here. While Forger of Worlds is like a god in this plane, in this tier. As the realm, this is the realm where the Forger creates worlds and planes of existence within eternity. And the far shore is on this tier, but beyond the beyond realms, and if not, of the Never Queen's possibilities of nothing ever dying. And as long as there is a possibility, then infinity shall exist, and so as eternity. She kept them in the observable foreshore, and she keeps iterations that have died, which can hold yet possible infinite amounts of iterations, and see how insignificant they look. Even the first firmament that birthed the iterations, which birthed from another, dwelled within the foreshore, and was incredibly small yet transfinite terms can't really be used to describe him, and he was literally raised to the power of infinities. The forger of worlds yet being on that tier. When his ghost form looked into the foreshore, it nearly ran mad, but the ghost form was around the inaccessible peak within eternity, scaling from the ultimates. Now, both are overpowered, but I believe I don't have to say much. If you found this video informative, please do to like, share,